Let's start. Okay, Vasarudvandana. Om Jnanatimirandasya Giranjana Shalakaya Chakshuramitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Uccha Shri Guru Bhagavadita Mahabhavanvitaya Shada Paurvaparya Parampara Prachalita Prachapramurta Krite Bhaktir Nirmala Nirjarasa Nivritam Shamrakakam Shadaram Vande Shri Gurudeva Manatta Shira Charya Varyam Nijam Pravabhishta Shuprakam Virvanera Shishasham Bhushitam Chantya Chantya Samastya Varanipunam Shri Rupapunam Govinda Pitam Uchvaram Bharatanam Bhaktyamritam Shandaram Vande Vishvagurancha Divya Bhagavat Premnohi Bijapradam Evam Divyatanam Sachanda Vadanam Balarka Chalanchitam Chandranandapuram Shadekha Varanam Vairagya Vidyamudi Shri Siddhanta Nidimja Bhakti Lashitam Sarasvataram Varam Vandetam Shubhadam Adeko Sharanam Yashishwaram Shridaram Panchakapaturubhyascha Kripasindhuvayevacha Pitanam Pavnippo Vishnavippo Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gurupite Jayat Rashidvaya Priyaya Kesavasacha Krishna Bhakti Pradidevi Satchachimo Namaha Attanatva Mantra Gurun Gurun Bhagavad Hartadam Vyasa Jagat Guru Natva Tattva Jayamutire Jai Saparikara Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Kandarva Govinda Sundara Pad Pavanam Jayastu Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Humble and pronounced to the devotees. Thank you all for joining us today. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you all on the Zoom session. So today we're going to be talking about the beautiful pastime of Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. Can everyone see my screen? Okay. So I will very briefly talk about one part of the pastime, and then after that we will continue reading from chapter 81 of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So very briefly, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa was a devotee and a personal friend of Lord Krishna. So he was very humble, and also he was completely free of material desires. He maintained himself and his wife with whatever came of its own accord, and thus they were poverty-stricken. So how did Sudāmā come to be in this position where he was so poor? Sudāmā and Lord Krishna met at the ashram of Sandipani Muni when they were young boys. One day they were told to go to the forest to collect some firewood, and while they were busy collecting the wood, a thunderstorm approached, and they had to take shelter in a tree. Sudāmā sat on a higher branch and slowly ate the fried chana given by the Guru's wife. He did not share the fried chana with Lord Krishna. So when they returned to the ashram, Lord Krishna said he was tired and hungry. So the wife of Sandipani Muni then realized that Sudāmā ate all the fried chana by himself and did not share with the Lord. And she became angry because of this. So in a way, he was actually cursed. So one day, Sudāmā's wife could not find any food to prepare for her husband. So she went to him and asked him that he visit his friend Krishna in Dwaraka and beg some charity. Sudāmā was very reluctant to go and ask anything from the Lord. But when she persisted, he then agreed to go. He thought that this was an ideal opportunity to see the Lord, and he considered it extremely auspicious. His wife begged a few handfuls of flattened rice as a gift for Sri Krishna, and Sudāmā then set off for Dwaraka. As Sudāmā approached the palace of Lord Krishna's principal wife, Rukmini Devi, the Lord, spotting the Brahmana at some distance, immediately went forward to meet him and with great pleasure embraced him. Then he set Sudāmā down on the bed, washed his feet with his own hands, and sprinkled the wash water on his head. After this, he presented him with various gifts and worshipped him with incense, lamps, and so on. Meanwhile, Rukmini fanned the shabbily dressed Brahmana with a whisk. All of this astonished the residents of the palace. Lord Sri Krishna then took the hand of his friend, and the two of them happily talked about the things they had done together while living in the school of their spiritual master. So I'll stop there for now. So very beautiful, amazing pastime, and it's very famous pastime. Devotees are aware of this wonderful pastime. Lord Krishna is washing the feet of his devotee, something we don't really hear of. Such an amazing pastime. But we'll discuss this more in detail after we read from chapter 81. Okay. So we'll share the text of chapter 81 and we can read from there.
Kanupriya, you're on mute. You're on mute, Kanupriya.
Sorry.
Okay.
Text 1 to 2. Shukadev Goswami said, Lord Hari, Krishna, perfectly knows the hearts of all living beings, and is especially devoted to the Brahmanas. While the Supreme Lord, the goal of all saintly persons, conversed in this way with the best of the twice born, he laughed and spoke the following words to that dear friend of his, the Brahmana Sudāmā, all the while smiling and looking upon him with affection. Text 3. The Supreme Lord said, O Brahmana, what gift have you brought me from home? I regard as great even the smallest gift offered by my devotees in pure love. But even great offerings presented by non-devotees do not please me. Text 4. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Text 5. Sukadev Goswami continued, even after being addressed in this way, O king, the Brahmana felt too embarrassed to offer his palmfuls of flat rice to the husband of the goddess of fortune. He simply kept his head bowed in shame. Being the direct witness in the hearts of all living beings, Lord Krishna fully understood why Sudāmā had come to see him. Thus he thought, in the past, my friend has never worshipped me out of a desire for material opulence. But now he comes to me to satisfy his chaste and devoted wife. I will give him riches that even the immortal demigods cannot obtain. Thinking like this, the Lord snatched from the Brahmana's garment the grains of flat rice tied up in an old piece of cloth and explained, what is this? My friend, you have bought this for me. It gives me extreme pleasure. Indeed, these few grains of flat rice will satisfy not only me, but also the entire universe. After saying this, the Supreme Lord ate one palmful and was about to eat a second when the devoted goddess Rukmini took hold of his hand. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, if any of the devotees got any comments or like to ask any questions? Verse 3 is very potent. Krishna is saying, I regard as great even the smallest gift offered by my devotees in pure love. But even great offerings presented by non-devotees do not please me. So here we see the main ingredient in our offering is love and devotion. The Lord is tasting the love, he's tasting the sweetness of the service mode. And we see a very famous pastime in Mahabharata when Lord Krishna was invited by Duryodhana. Duryodhana arranged a very great feast, but we see Lord Krishna did not accept that. Instead, he went to the house of Vidura. And when he entered the house of Vidura, there he calls for Vidura's wife. Oh, Vidurani Maya, I am so hungry. Please give me something to eat, like this. And Vidura's wife was so excited that Lord Krishna had come to her house. And immediately there were some bananas there, and she took the bananas and started to peel the bananas. And when she was peeling the banana, she threw the fruit away and she gave Krishna the peel to eat. she was so overwhelmed by his presence, by his beauty, that she wasn't in total control of herself. And Lord Krishna, very affectionately, was accepting the banana peels, and he was relishing them with so much of joy. So we can see that again, what is offered with love and devotion, Krishna is accepting.
Also, probably I was going to say, I noticed that he's coming to Krishna not for his own satisfaction, but the satisfaction of someone else, or essentially another devotee, his wife. So yeah,
being a pure devotee, he could not ask the Lord for anything. That is the position of a Vaishnava. Whatever comes to him, whatever his situation is, he is accepting that. And we can see in the case of Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, he accepted this poverty that came upon him, and he said, whatever comes upon me, it's my fault. I've made a mistake. He remembers that last time where he was eating all the fried chana and he did not share with the Lord. So he said, okay, I've made that mistake and I've done some wrong. And this could be the reason why I'm going through this, poverty. And I cannot blame anyone else for it. I should not blame anyone, should not blame the Lord, should not blame the environment or fight with anybody. But whatever is coming to me, I need to accept it. That is my karma. I need to deal with it. I am responsible. Srila Sridhar Maharaj says we must take all blame on our own shoulders. Take responsibility, be accountable. But here we see what is so amazing about Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. Even though he was going through so much of, you can say he was in a difficult situation, and you could see him and his wife, they were very thin, they were very fragile because they weren't eating they weren't eating properly. And, but still during that difficult time, he did not forget the Lord. He was always meditating on the Lord, worshipping the Lord, thinking of his beautiful pastimes with Krishna when he stayed at the ashram of Sandipani Muni. So you can see this is the nature of a pure devotee. Like that. He does not let the situation get the better of him, and blame someone, but rather he was accepting all of that and still worshiping the Lord. And this is what the Lord really admired about him, like that. And also when we read some of the explanations given as well, that although we see Sudāma's wife, humbly requesting him, please go see your friend, Lord Krishna. It wasn't like so much for her satisfaction. There came a stage where, she was trying to offer something to Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, her husband, but one day there wasn't anything to offer to him, and that's when it really got to her. She wanted to serve him because he was such a pure devotee. She wanted to please him, and because she could not do that properly, then she asked, Lord Krishna is a dear friend, please go and visit him, like that. So although on one hand we see she's asking him and requesting to go, but actually when we understand the bigger picture, it is actually Lord Krishna that arranged for him to come to Dwarka. It was actually the supreme will of the Lord. Yeah.
We'll continue reading.
Yeah.
do you want me to continue reading, Didi, or are you going to read?
Okay. Parama Bhakti, Didi, you like to read? Can you? Text 11.
Okay, sorry.
Can you see the screen?
Text 11. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Text 11. Queen Rukmini said, "This is more than enough. The soul of the universe and abundance of all kinds and the next. After all, one's prosperity depends simply on yours." Text 12. Sukadeva Goswami continued. The Brahmana spent that night in Lord Achyuta's palace. After eating and drinking to his full satisfaction, he felt as if he had gone to the spiritual world. Text 13. The next day, Sudāma set off for home, while Bina, the self-satisfied maintainer of the universe. The Brahmana felt greatly delighted by the dear king as he walked along the road. 14. Although he had apparently received no wealth from Lord Krishna, Sudāmā was too shy to beg him. He simply returned home, feeling perfectly satisfied to have had the text 15. Sudāmā thought, Lord Krishna is known to be devoted to the Brahmanas, and now I have personally seen this devotion. Indeed, he who carries the goddess of has embraced the poorest beggar. Text 16. The sinful poor friend of a Brahmana, and who is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full in 6 opulences. Nonetheless, he has in arms. He treated me just like one of his brothers on his bed, on his bed of his beloved concert, and because I was fatigued, his queen personally fed me with a jack-tailed chamara. Text 18. Although he is the lord of all demigods and the object of worship for all Brahmanas, he worshipped me as in myself, massaging my feet and rendering other humble services. Text 17. Devotional service to his lotus feet is the root cause of all perfections. A person's liberation to serene regions and on earth. Text 20. Thinking poor wretch suddenly becomes rich, he forgets me in his innocence. The compassionate Lord did not grant me even a little wealth. Text 21 to 23. Sukadeva Goswami continued, thinking thus to himself, Sudāmā finally came to the place where his home stood, but the place was now crowded on all sides. Celestial palaces, rivaling the combined brilliance of the sun, fire. There were splendorous courtyards and gardens, each filled with birds and beautified by ponds, in which Kumuda, Ambhoja, Kalara, and Utpala lotuses, greenly attired men and dew-eyed women attendants.
Yes.
Sudāmā wondered, what is all this? Whose prosperity is it? How has it all come about? Text 24.
There.
Just
Maybe we can pause there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone like to comment, ask any questions?
So the text refers to the 6 opulences.
Mhm.
Anyone knows?
Well,
Okay. Wealth,
Wealth, renunciation,
fame,
fame,
beauty,
power, is it? Or strength?
Our strength, yeah.
Strength,
yes. One more.
Fame, wealth, knowledge,
knowledge,
One more.
I
and
think
renunciation.
renunciation. I think that's it.
You're not supposed to give the answer. We're supposed to be guessing.
Strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation.
Yes.
Krishna is in all 6 of it. That's why he is Bhagavan. So very important. You see, we read there in one of those verses. I think it was 11, 10 and 11. Yeah, it was verse 10 and 11. It says that the Supreme Lord ate one palmful and was about to eat a second. Rukmini took hold of his hand. So why was Rukmini holding his hand and not letting Krishna eat the second palmful of rice? So Rukmini, it is explained that she is the goddess of fortune. And if Lord Krishna is pleased with just one palmful of offering, she blesses that devotee with so much of opulence, abundance, abundance of opulence. So if Lord Krishna was going to eat a second palmful of that rice, then it means that she had to give Sudāmā everything. Just the first palmful, she already bestowed Sudāmā so much, but he wasn't aware of that. she bestowed him with so much of opulence. And if Krishna ate the second palmful, it means that Rukmini Devi, the goddess of fortune, was going to surrender to Sudāmā and give him everything else, which means there won't be anything left for her to give to any of her other servants or friends or anything like that. So that's why she had to hold Krishna's hand and not allow him to eat the second palmful of the grains of that rice. And Krishna, he understood this gesture like this. So a very nice explanation given there. Yeah, so although Sudāmā was thinking that he did not physically receive any wealth, as he was leaving Dwaraka and going back home, he's thinking, I did not receive anything from the Lord, any wealth. But he felt just by having the association of the Lord for that moment in time, it was such an amazing experience. That was his greatest treasure. And he truly appreciated that. And for him, that was, for him, the ultimate. He could not ask for anything more. So, yeah, very nice. Thought came into Sudāma's head when he was leaving the palace of Dwaraka. Anyone else has any questions? No?
I
Okay.
want to ask, finally, a tired man, and what is that? Dewy-eyed women?
Doe-eyed women. Doe-eyed. Like
Doe-eyed.
Dough.
Oh, like a doe,
Yes, like a dough.
like a deer. Yes. Okay.
It's a nice expression, but
Yeah, they
Though-
were extremely beautiful. Yeah, they were extremely beautiful.
mm,
That's one way of describing them.
okay. I'll read text 25. Or is it 24?
24.
Text 24. As he continued to ponder in this way, the beautiful men and maidservants, as effulgent as demigods, came forward to greet their greatly fortunate master with loud song and instrumental music. Text 25. When she heard that her husband had arrived, the Brahmana's wife quickly came out of the house in a jubilant flurry. She resembled the goddess of fortune herself emerging from her divine abode. Text 26. When the chaste lady saw her husband, her eyes filled with tears of love and eagerness. As she held her eyes closed, she solemnly bowed down to him, and in her heart she embraced him. Text 27. Sudāmā was amazed to see his wife, shining forth in the midst of maidservants, adorned with jeweled lockets. She looked as effulgent as a demigoddess in her celestial airplane. Text 28. With pleasure, he took his wife with him and entered his house, where there were hundreds of gem-studded pillars, just as in the palace of Lord Mahendra. Text 29 to 32. In Sudāma's home were beds as soft and white as the foam of milk, with bedsteads made of ivory and ornamented with gold. There were also couches with golden legs, as well as royal chamara fans, golden thrones, soft cushions, and gleaming canopies hung with strings of pearls. Upon the walls of sparkling crystal glass, inlaid with precious emeralds, shone jeweled lamps, and the women in the palace were all adorned with precious gems. As he viewed this luxurious opulence of all varieties, the Brahmana calmly reasoned to himself about his unexpected prosperity. Text 33. Sudāmā thought, I have always been poor. Certainly the only possible way that such an unfortunate person as myself could become suddenly rich is that Lord Krishna, the supreme opulent chief of the Yadu dynasty, has glanced upon me. Should we stop there or continue?
You can pause there, yeah. Text 28 uses the word Mahendra. Sri Krishna used the word Mahendra, referring to Maha Indra. Actually, he is Lord Indra. So the great Lord Indra, he is the king of the heavens. So here we can see that for his devotees, the Lord can actually make the part of the heavenly world actually manifest on this earth planet just for the benefit of his devotees. Like this. in the heavenly world, there's so much of opulence, so much of beauty, and Krishna can do anything for his devotee. So here we see that he can actually make his devotee and give him everything, just like it is there in the heavenly world. So much opulence, he can bring that down on this earthly planet just for his devotee. So amazing is the Lord. He has so much love for his devotee. He can do anything for his devotee. Right? We cannot understand this.
Mm.
Can I ask
Even eat banana peels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's served with so much of love.
Yeah. Nerissa didi, yeah.
Looking at the heart.
I just wanted to ask one question. We hear that it said that Krishna, if he loves you, he takes everything away from you. So how are we to understand that he's given then everything to Sudāmā?
Yeah, that's a nice question. So we have to understand that not everyone can, or should we say that the Lord does not actually, give this kind of opulence to everyone. He knows who to bless with this kind of opulence, who can receive this kind of opulence and not become disturbed by it, let's put it that way. Because most of the time what we see in the material world, that when a lot of wealth comes to someone, they become agitated by it. And what happens? The ego starts to increase, pride sets in, and all of these, we can say anartha starts to increase in a person, automatically, in a very subtle way. Even though we may say, it's okay, if I somehow come into some wealth or some riches, I will remain the same, it won't change me. We say this, it's easy to say, but when the moment comes, really, in a very subtle way, we become affected. It changes our nature. We actually start to slowly forget our real position and our real purpose in life. But in the case of Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, Krishna knew that even if I bless him with so much of opulence, he is not going to forget me. As we see in the case of Maharaj Prataparudra. Maharaj Prataparudra was a great king of Orissa. He was blessed with such a beautiful kingdom and so much of wealth, family members, everything. But he was not attached to anything. And he was even willing to give up his kingdom just to come and meet with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and get his mercy. When he wrote his letter to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya requesting to meet with Mahaprabhu, the first time he received feedback from Sarvabhauma saying, Mahaprabhu cannot meet with you. And the second time when he wrote the letter, he was very serious about it. If I cannot meet with Mahaprabhu, I'm going to give up my kingdom and I'm going to become a beggar. This is Maharaj Prataparudra. You can see, not attached to anything material, simply because they understand that whatever is given to them is coming by the mercy of the Lord. And it must be used for service to the Lord and his devotee. As in the case with Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. Whatever wealth and opulence came to him, you see, it did not disturb him. But rather it actually, and it's not easy to understand this, he actually became more, surrendered to the Lord and more fixed in his service. He started to offer more and more to the Lord because of opulence. So Krishna knows, who to give his opulence to and who not to. Okay. Anyone else would like to comment?
Praneshwari, Didi, you'd like to read?
Thank you. 24, right?
35. No,
25.
34, sorry. 34.
Mm-hmm. After all, my friend Krishna, the most exalted of the Dasharahas and the enjoyer of unlimited wealth, noticed that I secretly intended to beg from him. Thus, even though he said nothing about it when I stood before him, he actually bestowed upon me the most abundant riches. In this way, he acted just like a merciful rain cloud. The Lord considers even his greatest benedictions to be insignificant, while he magnifies even a small service rendered to him by his well-wishing devotee. Thus, with pleasure, The Supreme Soul accepted a single palmful of their flat rice I brought him. The Lord is the supreme compassionate reservoir of all transcendental qualities. Life after life, may I serve him with love, friendship, and sympathy, and may I cultivate such firm attachment for him by the precious association of his devotees. To a devotee who lacks a spiritual insight, the Supreme Lord will not grant the wonderful opulences of this world, kingly power and material assets. Indeed, in his infinite wisdom, the unborn Lord, Indeed, in his infinite wisdom, the unborn Lord well knows how the intoxication of pride can cause the downfall of the wealthy. Shukadev Goswami continued, thus, firmly fixing his determination by means of his spiritual intelligence, Sudāmā remained absolutely devoted to Lord Krishna, the shelter of all living beings. Free from avarice, he enjoyed, together with his wife, the sense pleasures that had been bestowed upon him, always with the idea of eventually renouncing all sense gratification. Lord Hari is the God of all gods, the master of all sacrifices, and the supreme ruler. But he accepts the saintly Brahmanas as his masters, and so there exists no deity higher than them. Thus, seeing how the unconquerable Supreme Lord is nonetheless conquered by his own servants, the Lord's dear Brahmana friend felt the remaining knots of material attachment within his heart being cut by the force of his constant meditation on the Lord. In a short time, he attained Lord Krishna's supreme abode, the destination of great saints. Shall I stop there?
Yes, Didi.
Shall I read the last one, 41?
Yes.
The Lord always shows Brahmanas a special favor. Anyone who hears this account of the Supreme Lord's kindness to Brahmanas will come to develop love for the Lord and thus become freed from the bondage of material work.
Thank you.
Anyone got any comments on this part? Very nice, beautiful verses.
Nicely explained what we said after, actually. It's really nice. But I think also for me, what stood out was the fact that Krishna is saying he's most compassionate to us. So if we can understand that even our most difficult position is that it's a better position for us in terms of trying to untangle ourselves from material life, and that it's compassion from the Lord, trying to adjust our mindsets to that rather than thinking we're not enjoying.
Yes, and it's also like teaching us to have strong faith, in the Lord, irrespective of what's, happening in our lives. If we have that strong faith, then we can understand that the Lord is always, there for us. So even when, on the battlefield, when the Lord was speaking to Arjuna, and he's promising and saying, if we have faith in him, he will see to everything for us. So why should we worry then? He's giving his promise to us.
It says his devotee is never vanquished.
Yes.
And also, the very last verse of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Sarvadharman Parichaja, that if we really surrender to him, abandon everything, surrender to him, then he will take the responsibility of moving all of the sinful reactions. We have nothing to be fearful of. We have no reason to despair. So that's the type of faith we need to have in the Lord. That he is our supreme guide, supreme guardian. and he will certainly protect his devotees. So these are all explained in Sharanagati, the different limbs of Sharanagati, the 6 limbs of surrender, all of this. Having full faith in the protection of the Lord. And we see Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa, he really didn't stress about anything, in his life. Even though others externally were seeing, oh, look at this Brahmana, he's so shabbily dressed, his clothing is all torn and tattered. And from an external point of view, they were judging him. But he didn't let all that get to him. He was focused on his service. He wasn't, listening to the opinions of others and all of that judgmental things. So you can see how much we can learn from this beautiful character, Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa. And such an amazing personality. And at the same time, we can also learn from this pastime. Lord Krishna is not looking also at the external position of the devotee. He's showing us, here comes my very dear friend. I've been waiting so long to see him. And the way he welcomes, he gets off the bed and he runs towards Sudāmā. The way he embraces him, the way he makes him sit on the bed and serves him with so much of love and affection. This is something we can learn. The Lord is teaching us in this path. This is how we need to behave towards devotees. And why is this? Because the devotees of the Lord are most dear to him, more dear than anything else. And we can see in the case of Uddhava, it's in also in Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna is telling to Uddhava as well, he's very, very dear devotee. You are more dear to me, more dear than Lord Brahma, who is in charge of this universe, more dear than Lord Shiva, more dear than the goddess of fortune. You, my dear Uddhava, are more dear to me than my own self. Like this is how he's expressing his heart to Uddhava. This is a special position of a devotee. So the Lord is showing us this is how we need to behave towards devotees. Be very kind and respectful and honor them and worship them. And this, if we do this, then the Lord is pleased. Then the Lord is pleased. We can do so many different types of service. We can have so much of knowledge, we can be reciting scriptures. But if we cannot serve the devotees of the Lord with love and affection, then everything else means absolutely. The Lord is only attracted when we serve his devotees with love and affection. That is what really, really attracts him. Very important lesson the Lord is teaching us here in this pastime. So amazing.
Maneshwari, did you ask a question?
Yes, text 37 is a wake-up call for us, because it says, indeed, in his infinite wisdom, the unborn Lord well knows how the intoxication of pride can cause the downfall of the wealthy. We are so full of pride. We are not wealthy, but we are extremely, extremely proud. So this is a call. Don't allow this. Surrender, offer service. Be humble, be tolerant. Render honor to others. That here is so clear. Is the intoxication of pride. We don't want that intoxication in our lives.
Yeah, that is a very dangerous anartha, that pride. We can get rid of so many different anarthas in our heart, lust, anger, greed, all of these different types of anarthas. Pride and ego, very, very difficult to get rid of. It hides in the corners of the heart. We have to be in the association of, very good devotees. And with the strength coming from them, then only we can get rid of this pride. Our divine masters, they can, break that pride for us. They can help us. But on our own, very difficult. Very difficult. Also, text 36 as well, very nice explanation there. It says, may I cultivate such firm attachment for him by the precious association of his devotees. So, like this, we are being reassured, It is through the good association of the devotees that we can become fixed in our service to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. That is always, when we are doing our bandhana, we always are praying. We are praying for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. They are kalpataru, they are like wish-fulfilling trees. And they can fulfill the hearts of all devotees, the inner desires of the hearts, all devotees. That's a special position of the Vaishnavas. They're only rescuing those who are fallen, but they are rescuing all living entities. Just by them chanting, the animals are hearing, the chanting, the trees, the plants, all living entities are hearing, even the insects, and they all are benefiting just by a Vaishnava chanting the holy names. Special position of a Vaishnava. So, I go there. So, anyone else would like to share? Then we can conclude with that.
Well, there was something I read in Revealed Truth. If possible, I'd like to share.
Wasn't so clear, did he?
Did he say again?
Can you hear me?
You're very low.
Oh. Now?
Okay, still
Okay,
low.
we'll try and listen again. You can repeat, then we can try to listen.
There was something I found in Revealed Truth. Oh, I know why.
Oh, the plugs are plugged in the wrong place. Sometimes it happens even when the
While we wait for her, I wonder if Yashoda and Nerissa are twin sisters.
No, they're not.
But they are sisters.
They are sisters, but not twins.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Because the cover was on the iPad.
No, okay.
I forgot. So there was something I read about Sudāmā also on in Revealed Truth.
Yes.
You want me to share?
Yes.
Yes,
Sure.
yes, please share.
So
Yes.
that's from Revealed Truth from the chapter Spiritual Revolution.
Mm.
The Lord does not consider grammar or external qualifications. He considers the heart. He sees only someone's mood of devotion. It is necessary to offer everything to the Lord with devotion, bhakya prayachati. Without devotion, nothing is actually satisfying to the Lord, because the Lord is bhava grahi janardana, the enjoyer of the devotee's heart and devotional mood. Once, when I was in Puridam during the time of Ratha Yatra, the Director General of Police of the state of Orissa came to visit me. He was very learned. His knowledge was like an ocean, and he had defeated many sadhus who had come to Puri. He had read all different types of philosophy, the writings of Ramanuja, Shankaracharya, Buddha, Confucius, Christ, and so on. No one could defeat him in debate. When I spoke with him, I was very surprised to hear a very nice verse from him that is dear to all devotees. Should I try the verse?
Okay, go for it.
Go for it. Vyadascha charanam druvasya cha vayo vidya gayendrasya ka kubyaha kim unamarupam adikam kim tat sudamodhanam vamsaha ko vidurasya yadava patir ugrasya kim porusham bhakya tushanti kevalam nacha guner bhakti priyo mada vaha. That's from Pajavali number 8. This verse explains that Krishna consciousness does not depend upon any external qualifications, and it presents many examples from Srimad Bhagavatam to prove this. A hunter who killed deer in the jungle and did not follow Vedic culture got a chance to worship Narayan. So proper behavior cannot be the cause of pleasing the Lord. Dhruva received Vishnu's mercy when he was only 5 years old. So age cannot be the cause of receiving the Lord's mercy. Gajendra, the elephant, had no proper Vedic knowledge, but the Lord answered his prayer. So knowledge cannot be the cause of receiving the Lord's grace. Kupya was not beautiful, but she satisfied the Lord with her devotion. Sudāmā Vipra had no money, but he satisfied the Lord through his devotion. Through these examples and others, this verse shows that the Lord is satisfied by the mood of devotion within his devotees, not their external qualifications. When I heard this verse from the policeman, I was surprised. This man is the head of the police department, but he is quoting this verse, which has a purely devotional theme. I spoke with him for about half an hour, and he was very satisfied. Now, by the will of Krishna, he is my very good friend and wants to become my disciple. Jai Gurudev. Such a sweet pastime, huh?
Yeah.
You can just imagine it.
You can just imagine it, yes. So
It
beautiful.
couldn't be otherwise. It's Srila Guru Maharaj.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
It's all about the heart at the end of the day. Srila
Mm.
Gurudev is very nicely saying that, that Lord Krishna is actually the Lord of the heart. And this religion we're following is called the religion of the heart. So we see a very nice book was compiled, called Religion of the Heart. Very beautiful, sweet book. All about the heart. Jai Gurudev.
Yeah, when we start our study group, then we'll go through that book as well. Religion of the Heart. Beautiful. Okay. Now we're going to cross over to Nerissa. Nerissa did a video, so it's going to be very short. And so I'm going to share the screen now. Okay, she's going to be making strawberry crepes. Okay, so that was the crepes recipe. Nerissa, if you can share how you made the strawberry compote.
Dandavat, everyone. The strawberry compote, it's actually very easy. It's just a 1/4 cup of icing sugar and a 1/4 cup of water. And I just mix that into a pan until it heated for about 5 minutes. And then I added my chopped strawberries into that syrup and let it just simmer for about 10 minutes until it thickened.
Can I ask a question? And I guess you need a really good non-stick pan.
Yes.
You can use oil or anything, and it looks so easy. I know. I might to get a new pan, I think.
You can add oil just to, in the beginning to prevent it from sticking to the pan. But yes, a non-stick pan would make it very easy.
Really lovely.
And
the crepe is a French version of the dosa.
Yes.
So beautiful, so perfect. Beautiful.
Yes, there's
And you can have
there's no rice flour, so I think that's the difference.
It's a simple.
Beautiful.
It's very light. If you have it like, see, we had it with savory, we had it with potato and peas, as a savory.
And it's just plain flour.
Yes.
Flour.
Yeah.
So, yeah, try it.
The video was really beautiful. It should be a cooking channel.
Yeah. No professional.
Yeah.
Yes, very nice.
We
That was actually my
continue with
sister.
that.
She helps video.
Okay.
Yashoda's gonna video for us.
My twin sister.
Your twin sister, okay.
She's also gonna video for me. So
Nice.
when it's my turn, then I'm gonna show the video.
Very nice.
So we don't have to do it live. It's better as well, I think. It's clearer. Yeah, so, okay, that was the recipe. And I think we'll have some kirtan now. Okay.
Okay, let me share the song copies, and then we can chant.
Uma was here. I don't know. She's disappeared. Okay. I think Prabhu, you can chant.
Okay. Gurudev kripa bindu diya karo e dashe trinapekha atidina. Gurudev kripa bindu
Diya Koro
e dashe
trinapekha atidina.
Shakala shahane pulatiya ko Shakala shahane pulatiya
Koro
Nijamane priyahina
Anis priyahina.
Shakale shaman korite shakati Ehonata jata jata
Saman kurte sakati Deonata jata jata.
Tabe to gayo harinama shuke aparaja hare hata to gayo harinama shuke aparaja hare hata Kare no kripa lobiya jan kesato hoibe nata
Obeno kripa lobiye jana kritata oibe nata.
Bhakti Bhuti Namiyati Puramode Yathakatha
Bhakti Bhuti
Namiyati Puramore Atma Sata
Sakyata Vichare Kichu Nahi Pai Tamara Karuna Sara
Yogyata Vichare Kichunai Pai Tomara Karuna Sara
Karuna Haile Kandiya Kandiya Pranara Kipara
Karana Hoile Kandiya Kandiya Prananara Ki Poara
Karuna Haile Kandiya Kandiya Pranara Kipara
Karuna Hoile Kandiya Kandiya Pranara Ki Poara
Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Guru
Jaya Gurudev 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 Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Guru
Jaya Gurudev 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 Gurudev
Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai. Would you like to chant?
Need to sing for you?
Krishna Kanupriya, you chanting?
Kanapriya?
Oye Vaishnava Thakura Toyara Sakara Itase Karuna Kori
Ore Vaishnava
Vaishnava Thakura Dhyaro Sagara Nakori
Priya Pada Chaya Shodahiya Mare Tomara Charana Kori
Priya Pada Jaya Shodahe Amare Tamara
Tomara Charana Dori
Toya Vega Domi Toya Dota Shodi Toya Guna Tehutasi
Pega Domi Choya Dosa Sodi Cheguna Dehoda
Toya Sasanga Teho Hiyamare Vosachi Sangiro Asi
Sanga Deoe Amare Bose Sanga
Ekaki Hamara Nahi Paya Polo Harinama Sankirtani
Ekaki Amara Nahi Paya Bolo Harinama Sankirtani
Tumi Kripa Kori Shwata Bindu Diya Deho Krishna Namadani
Tumi Kripa Kori
Kore Shraddha Bindu
Diya
Diya Diya
Krishna
Krishna
Namadana
Namadana
Krishna se tumara Krishna daiti paro tumara shakati ache
Sake
Se Tomara Krishna Dite Paro
Tamara Shakti Ache
Sakatiyachi
Ami tu Kangala Krishna Krishna Boli Dahi Tava Pati Pati
Amito
Kangala Krishna
Boli
Krishna
Daita
Boli Daida Pachi
Pache
Pachi
Ami tu Kangala Krishna Krishna Boli Dahi Tava Pati Pati
Amito
Mito
Krishna
Kangala
Krishna
Krishna
Boli
Krishna Boli
Daita
Daida Pachi
Pache
Pachi
Jaya Vaishnavata Koi Vaishnavata Ko Vaishnavata Koi Vaishnavata Ko
Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava
Vaishnava
Thakur,
Thakur, Vaishnava
Vaishnava
Thakur,
Thakur,
Vaishnava
Vaishnava
Thakur.
Thakur. Vaishnava Thakur ki jai. Finish what you were saying?
I'll try because I have a cold. Nitai pada kamala kati chandra sushitala jechaya jagata
Kuti Chandra Susitala
Mala Koti Chandra Sushitala Jaya Jagatukita
Jagata
Hena nitai vinevai Radha Krishna paitenai Dridha Dharani tarpai
Radha Krishna Paitenai Ridakore Dharanite
Se sambandha nahi jar Bridha janma gelotar Sei pashu bodha durachar
Sambandana Hijara Buddha Janma Gilotara Sepasu Buddha Dura Chara
Nitai na bolilo mukhe Majilo samsara sukhe Vidya kule ki kori beta
Nitana bolile mukhe
Majila Samsara Sukhe
Yakule ki parile
Ahankare mata hoya nitai pada pashariya
Ahankare
mata hoya nitai pada pasariya
Satyare satya kari mani
Satya tere satya kuri mani
Jaya karuna have vraja radha krishna pave Aranitai charana dukhani
Charana dukhani
Nitaye charana satya tanhara sevak nitya
Charana satya tahara seva nitya
Nitay pada sada karayasha
Pada Sada Kurasa
Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa dukhi nitay more koro sukhi
Dhamma Bodha Duki Nita Mura Korosuki
Akoranga charanera pasha
Akuranga Charanira Pasa Dayonita 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 Dayonita
Dayanita Dayanita Dayanita
Dayonita Dayonita
Nityananda Chandra ki jai. Would like to sing? Mono durmati samsara vitore padiya chinunami
Emono Durmati Samsara Vitore Podiachi no Ami
Avani jajan kono moho jane
Jani Jitan Kono Mama Jani
pataiya dile thumi
Pataiya Dile Tumi
Doya kori more patita dekhiya kodilo amare kiya
Doya Kore More Patita Tekiya Koilo Amara Giya
Ohe dino jan shunupalo patta
Sunubolo Kata
Shita hadehiya
Sita Hobehiya
Tomare tarite Sri Krishna Chaitanya Navadvipe Avatara.
Bharatarite Sri Krishna Chaitanya Navadvipa Avatara.
Maheno Kato Dinohino Jone.
Mahino Kota Dinohina Jani.
Murilena Bhavapara. Edera Pratigya Rakhi Bharatore Supavarna Prashuta.
Pratijara Ki Bharatoro Mavana Viprasuta.
Mahaprabhu Name Hariyamata.
Mahaprabhu Name
Yamatai
Devaya Vaduta.
Samkaya Vaduta.
Nanda Shuta Jini Chaitanya Koshai Nijanama Kuridana.
Nanda Sutta Jini Chaitanya Koshai Nijanama Kuridana.
Hari Rajpaka Tumi Ujaiya.
Tamilo Jagat Miyo Jaiya.
Nija Paritrana.
Loko Nije Paritrana.
Ekatya Suniya Asiya Chinata Tumara Charana Tole.
Kata Suniya Siya Chinata Tumara Charana Toli.
Kati Vinoda Katiya Kandiya.
Kandiya Kandiya.
Apana Kahini Bole.
Kana Kaini Bole.
Kati Vinoda Katiya Kandiya. Apana Kahini Bole.
Kandiya Kaini Bole.
Jaya Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Jaya Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Shri Gauranga Sundar ki jai. Okay, devotee would like to chant.
What have I got to do? Yeah.
I'll try also.
No response.
Hariyaraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hariyaraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana. Giridhari Gopinata Madana Mohana.
Giridhari Gopinata Madana Mohana.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra.
Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha.
Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha.
Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha.
Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha.
Jai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Jai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Yahoite Vignana Sadhista Purana.
Yahoite Vignana Sadhista Purana.
Jai Gosai Jara Moitar Dasa.
Jai Gosai Jar Mukta Dasha.
Dasabara Padarino Mur Panchagrasa.
Dasabara Parameno Panchadasha.
Adira Charana Sebi Bhakti Sana Basa.
Sade Charana Sevi Bhakto Shane Basha.
Janame Mori Abhilasa.
Janame Mori Abhinasha.
Jai Gosai Jabe Braje Kole Basa.
Jai Gosai Jar Mukta Dasha.
Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Lila Prakasa.
Krishna Nityanida Parila Dasha.
Anand Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana.
Anande Hari Vajravana.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majiya Imana.
Guru Vaishnava Parma Jayamana.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Padma Koriyasa.
Guru Vaishnava Padma Priyasha.
Harinama Sankirtana Kol Naratama Dasa.
Vinama Sankirtana Kohena Ratamadasha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Rama Hari Hari.
Hare Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Nitya Gaura Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol.
Nitya Gaura Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jai Parikara Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Ji ki. Jai Shri Guru Gaura Nityananda Ji ki. Jai Om Vishwad Brahmanta Parivraj Rajya Variyashtatrasta Shri Shri Bhakti Nirmala Chaja Goswami Maharaj ki. Jai Om Vishwad Jagat Guru Shri Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki. Jai Om Vishwad Jagat Guru Shri Shri Bhakti Rakshidhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki. Jai Om Vishwad Shri Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Shri Rupa Anuga Guru Varga ki. Jai Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Jai Nam Tajashila Haridas Thakur ki. Jai Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki. Jai Sachivan Mahaprabhu ki. Jai Shri Radha Krishna Prabhu Kapana Chama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki. Jai Shri Sudāmā Brāhmaṇa ki. Jai Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai and all the assembled devotees ki. Jai the worldwide devotees ki. Jai Harinam Sankirtan ki. Jai Nitai
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Oh, that's
so sweet was that.
So spicy. Yes. Hari Gold.
oh, I think you have a little voice. I can hear a little voice.
I can hear, yes, even me too. Who's that?
Ah.
Who is the sweet devotee? Ah,
He came just in time. He came just in time to say Hari Gold.
Oh.
Hari Bol.
what is his
Oh,
name?
he's so cute.
What is his name?
His name is Noah.
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 Oh.
Okay.
Sweet name.
So,
Very nice.
So sweet.
thank you everybody for coming today. And so August we'll be doing Krishna pastimes, as we have the appearance of Lord Krishna Janmashtami at the end of August. So we'll be doing Krishna pastimes. I think Krishna Nandini has prepared we all organize many lovely pastimes and some sweets, lots of sweets, preparations, So look forward
And
to
savories too.
and some yes. I don't know if it'd be quite as lovely like presented as Nerissa has done. We'll try.
She said the standard. So
Yeah, it's
we
like
have around it.
So we're going to look forward to that.
To the next video.
Yeah, the videos are nice. It's like, you know, short as well.
and really simple to
Fantastic.
follow. Yeah.
Very, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to August. You know, we'll celebrate the Lord's opulences, his beauty and everything with all the pastimes and all the crepes.
Yeah.
And the next week is Praneshwari, Didi and Lopa is doing a recipe. Then the following week it's Parama Bhakti that's doing Govardhan pastime.
Yes.
And then it's Kanupriya, and then it's myself, and then it's the youngsters. We're going to put the youngsters as well, you know, to do a pastime. And yeah, it's going to be good.
Like a rolling stone. We have to keep rolling.
Yes.
I wanted to mention, I don't know Praneshwari Didi.
We're looking forward to Saturday. Praneshwari is on next Saturday.
Right.
See you next Saturday. Bless you
Yes.
all. Thank you very much. It was
Okay.
wonderful to be with you.
Hare Krishna. Dandavad.
Okay,
Hare Krishna.
thanks.
Pranams.
Dandavad.